stop talking, don't stop sharing, don't stop laughing, don't stop caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop.
Whoa, 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 don't stop talking, Ann. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you doing, everybody? Hey, it's me, Ann Eller. I feel a little better today. In fact, I feel good. I got some sleep. Isn't that amazing? Even though I was out last night at the different watch parties around Greenwood, it was not a late night, thank goodness. Well, it was sort of a late night because then I had to come back and get ready for today's show. But anyways, I'm feeling much better today. I don't feel so dragged out, but I am anticipating that things are going to ramp up because we have some runoffs, folks. That's right. We have some runoffs. So maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette came down the stairs. I don't know what that's like, but, you know, she came down the stairs. Kind of reminds you of the golden escalator. But anyways, I'm not saying anything. She came down the stairs to address her fans, and she says she's going to move forward here. She is challenged by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, who says it's a job interview and he is ready to roll to finish this up. There's going to be a mad dash for the next 2 weeks, so you can expect lots more mailers in your mailbox. Yeah, it's true. You can expect lots more commercials, TV, radio. Yay for radio. And looking forward to this extra bump, hopefully, that we will get right here on WCRS. Now, Lindsey Graham, of course, he cruised right to his anointed position as senator from South Carolina. Although I will say Mark Lynch gave a credible show, although I'm not sure I would have considered, what did he invest? $5 million, $4 million, something. Anyways, he invested in the millions and came up quite short against Lindsey Graham, the Lindsey Graham machine, maybe we should call it. But Lindsey Graham will face Dr. Annie Andrews on the Democratic side. Hopefully this will turn into be a good race. I say this only because I look forward to the economic bump that political campaigns give to WCRS radio. All right, so that's one race. The race between Pamela Evette and Alan Wilson, that was a to be expected. I think we should call that a to be expected race. Although there was talk that Reddy could be, Pamela Evette was probably going to be one of the candidates for sure. Even with, even with Trump's endorsement, she did not make it over the 50% mark. She was in the high 20s. So, but Alan Wilson, Nancy Mace bowed out early. She was way down, like 14%, maybe a little bit less. I don't remember. But she bowed out early and threw her support to Alan Wilson that South Carolina should be a law and order state. So the interesting question about the rest of the candidates, Ralph Norman did not endorse anybody as of last night. Now, I don't know if he's endorsed somebody this morning or whether he'll take the day and see if the telephone rings and how much he's courted for his endorsement. Reddy said last night that he would not be endorsing anybody, which leaves a big hole for a lot of his voters and supporters who were hoping that he would make it. So now those voters will be up for grabs. And then, of course, let's see, who else was there? Ralph Norman, Nancy Mace, There was one more in. Come on, who was it? Who was it? Josh Kimbrell, but he had dropped out. So anyways, that kind of sums that one up. But Ralph Norman out, Nancy Mace out. Oh, I had already said Nancy Mace. That was the other one. And Rom Reddy is out. Nancy Mace has endorsed Alan Wilson. That is the only one I think that has endorsed. But those will be some good swaths of voters if they can get them to commit to them. So, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Give us a call or send a text if you would like to weigh in on the conversations we're going to have. We're going to be talking a little bit about voters first, who voted for what, where some of the races are. Love to know if any of the races surprised you. Did the race for governor surprise you? Not me. That's kind of what I thought would end up. I think a lot of people thought that would end up. Did Trump's endorsement move the needle? Many of the polls were done before the endorsement that was out there. So we'll actually, I guess, see the full effect of Donald Trump in the runoff. And FYI, I would say Donald Trump may be coming to South Carolina because he said he's going to be giving his full endorsement. He is all in for Pamela Evan. Now, another interesting question, I think, is Pam going to pick a running mate at this time, since Alan Wilson has Mike Rickenbacker, who is, of course, a very well thought of senator in the South Carolina legislature. Is Pam going to go ahead and tell us who she's going to pick? One of the things that was said last night is she did very well down in Horry County, which is, of course, the Myrtle Beach area. But she did not do as well in the upstate Greenville area where she literally is from. So will that influence her in who she picks for her lieutenant governor? And will she do that before, or will she hold firm to where she's at? I right now am looking for some Pamela Evan advertising. I keep checking. Where are you, Pam? Please come through, Pam. Anyways, that's a couple of questions that I have. Will she or will she not? Will Trump come to the state and help her campaign? Still a kind of a sticky wicket for Trump. Because he gave his endorsement. Joe Wilson, of course, won his primary. But President Trump needs the support of those legislators that he did not support, such as Ralph Norman, Nancy Mace, Joe Wilson. And if he came to the state, would that agitate more? I don't know. That's just a couple of questions that I have. So did Trump's endorsement move the needle? Did any results surprise you? We are live on Facebook Live at WCRS Radio. We're also live on the radio this morning. And, of course, you can always catch us on the stream if you're traveling to the space station. You can catch us on the stream at WCRS1450am.net. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. Now, who else? David Stumbo, our own David Stumbo, advances to the runoff. I'm actually surprised there is a runoff. Now, I do know that Goldfinch, who is a senator, has a lot of support, particularly in the Midlands and lower part of the state. And he's very well connected. But after that debate performance, I question, this is just my personal commentary, how anybody could say, yeah, Goldfinch is our man. But anyways, David came in second. Goldfinch came in first. I think there were 5 points separating them. I did talk to David Stumbo last night. He says, here's where the really... he said he had a great watch party upstairs at Howard's there. I walked in there. Place was packed. A lot of people I didn't know were there, but that was great. A lot of people were there. Did talk to Jake Bartley, which of course is David Stumbo's brother-in-law. Did talk to him for a few minutes. That was fun. But David's got a lot of work. He's going to need a lot of support. Support, of course, financial support will make a difference, but also helping him get the word out there. So if you're interested in helping David Stumbo, it might be a good time to pick up that phone and call him if you'd like to see him over Goldfinch. We should be having an interview with David in the next few days, so look forward to that. Now, another race that got a runoff was the Agricultural Commissioner runoff, Cody Simpson and Danny Ford. And I have known very little about this. The only thing I actually know about this, Cody Simpson was endorsed by President Trump and Governor McMaster. So, and Danny Ford is the son or grandson of the Danny Ford. So that is about the most that I know about it. I will tell you that Cody Simpson's office probably is going to want to try to be on this time. They kind of missed the mark last time, but they're probably going to want to be on, so maybe we'll learn a little bit more about Cody Simpson. Now, John McCravey wins decisively, a big win for John, so he will go on to the primary. Lindsey Graham won decisively, so of course he will go on to the primary. I think voting was pretty good. I think the thing that is hard to do on voting, I think the thing that was hard to do on a runoff vote is to get people out to vote. So here's what I have to say. We must remain vigilant on getting out to vote. The race is not over. It could be won or lost on who is out there covering the state. So watch for, Pamela Evett did a big bus tour. Notably, she did not come to Greenwood. But maybe she will. Maybe she will now. Maybe they'll look at it. But as all the analysts were saying last night, they are going to be looking at all the data that came out. What areas did they cover? What areas did they not carry? These will be things that the candidates will be looking at. So you can expect more penetration into those areas where they didn't do as well. And I would think Ralph Norman's votes will be being courted to get his endorsement. And Ron Reddy has already said not, but you never know how things will play out. It did seem to me, and this is just a personal observation, Ron Reddy seemed very disappointed in where he fell in the race and said he would not run for political race again or political office again. He said he will work to help the people through his foundations, etc., but he would not run again. Better be careful what you say, Rom, about this. Never run again. As Ralph Norman said, he will be out of office in January, but he is not, and they asked him if he would run again, and his answer was, you never say never. So we'll see where all this shakes out. But right now, Pamela Evett, Alan Wilson, David Stumbo, and Goldfinch are for AG, and the Agricultural Commissioner runoff, Cody Simpson and Danny Ford. And I expect we will hear from Cody Simpson's office today. So we've got some more things to talk about. I've got some updates on the data center. So we're going to be talking about that. I think it's kind of amazing. I'll go ahead and say it, but maybe not. County Council did change the date. Did change the date of the when they will bring up the third reading on this ordinance that they have. So I think what we're going to do is take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, and we will play a couple of clips from the other night, from Monday night. I want to discuss the fact of where we're at on that and some new information that has come through. So you stay tuned right here on WCRS. Many of you have been texting me about Penny this morning, so I'll just... There she is. Not making a peep. Not making a peep. Just laying there going, why do I have to wear this shirt and why are we here? All right, I'm Ann Eller. We will be right back after this quick commercial break. Don't you go away. Take it away.
Step up to the plate with Greenwood American Legion Post 20, celebrating our 85th consecutive year of proud tradition. This season brings new energy with head coach Corby Long leading the way, building champions in baseball and softball on and off the field. From the diamond to the dugout, we're more than a team, we're family, and it's the best deal in town. Kids 12 and under are free. Join the tradition, bring the family, be part of Post 20's legacy today.
Hi, this is Brantley with Greenwood Chick-fil-A. Nominate your office, teachers, church group, or team for Breakfast for a Bunch with WCRS. We love surprising and delighting our Greenwood community. Call or text 864-332-9355. It would be our pleasure. Call or text 864-332-9355 for Breakfast for a Bunch with WCRS.
Screens, 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 rescreens, new screens. Do you need screens? Windows or doors? Call Cross Creek Glass, 864-223-3803. Next to the hospice store, 225B North Creek Boulevard. Don't let the bugs in. Get screened at Cross Creek Glass, 864-223-3803. Have a favorite blizzard from Dairy Queen? Did you know you can make it into a Dairy Queen blizzard cake?
DQ. Happy tastes good.
Make every occasion special with a blizzard cake only from your local Dairy Queen on the 72 bypass. Order one today.
DQ. Happy tastes good.
So make your next occasion extra special with your favorite blizzard as a cake. Only from Dairy Queen.
DQ. Happy tastes good.
Oh, that's right. We're right back here at WCRS Radio. Right here, right here, right here. Here I am. Yes, there we go. We're right back here. And somebody brought it to my attention here this morning, and I had actually read about that, but forgot to bring it up here this morning. Luke Rankin, who was a representative from Lawrence, lost his bid for re-election Tuesday evening. Rick Shealy, who came on our station and was interviewed right here by yours truly, Ann Eller, with a little help from Penny. He will now be the representative from Lawrence and part of Greenwood here. So we'll watch how that race turns out. I mean, not the race, but how he does. He, of course, was had a quite persuasive argument. But Rick Shealy defeated Rankin by about 20 points in the Republican primary. So that's roughly what it turned out to be. And of course, you may remember Luke Rankin was one of the big lead sponsor of the new congressional map that was pushed by the Trump administration in May. The map, which aims to make all 7 congressional districts in South Carolina reliably Republican, would have gone into effect for the ongoing election. But as you know, that was defeated. By the way, Clyburn won another term for representing his district down there. So we'll see how this goes. He does have a Republican contender, but I would say kind of like Lindsey Graham, that will probably be going back to office, although Dr. Annie Andrews, was out there spouting the things that she is going to make a difference with. So we'll see. I hope it's an interesting race. Why do I hope it's an interesting race? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That's true. I mean, I love election season. It's a killer for me, but I love it because it is the one time of the year where massive dollars do come in, and all you have to do is make sure you get all their ads on. So we'll see how serious this one with Dr. Annie Andrews and Lindsey Graham is. So we'll see. We wouldn't have any effect on Clyburn and that race down there, but that could heat up to be a good one. Also, on the Democratic side, Jermaine Johnson, who you may remember was asked to drop out of the race when, I think it was Billy Webster, was trying to get into the race. They wanted Jermaine Johnson, who is a representative, to drop out. He did not drop out, and he is successful on the Democratic side. So that's another tidbit. So whoever wins on the Republican side, Evett or Wilson, will be facing Jermaine Johnson. So that could shape up to be a good race. Would be, I'll say the words, highly unlikely, but it could create an interesting race. So all of these things are balls that are in the air. But now I wanted to talk about a little bit more about the data centers. You know, a lot of folks have very strong opinions about this issue. And one of the things that I decided to check out is to see if there were any federal recommendations for data centers. And what I found out was, no, there's not any regulations. There's not any recommendations. So they do have a lot of different communities across this nation are coming up with different things that they're saying. For American Planning Association that says all data centers should be X amount of feet from residences. That's one reason communities are struggling with this issue. But then it goes on and says, common recommendations being adopted. Many communities are requiring 500-foot setbacks from residential property lines. I believe in the ordinance that they are doing here in Greenwood, they're at 200 feet. Then it says 1,000 foot. This is many communities are requiring. This is just finding what you can out across our communities across the nation. 1,000 foot setbacks from existing neighborhoods. Additional landscape buffer zones. Well, I will say that Greenwood County did have specific vegetation, that landscaping that they wanted, but still many of the communities are requiring 500-foot setbacks. That would be on all sides of it, as opposed to the 200-foot that they are recommending here in Greenwood County. I believe I'm right on that. Additional landscape. The reason is not usually the building itself, but the generator noise, cooling equipment noise, security lighting, and the visual impact. So they also are requiring lots of trees, berms, landscaping to create a visual screen between homes and the facility. Noise standards. Several planners now arguing that noise limits are more important than setback distances. So we've got the cooling systems, the mechanical equipment, the backup generators. Many communities establish maximum decibel levels at the property line. But still, that doesn't take into effect. I just love this comment that one of our residents made, that living out on the lake, he can hear a flea fart from across the lake. So kind of depends on the area as far as how sound travels. So see, you can't just say that it's boom, going to be this much. If you have water involved, quite often it travels a lot further. That's just a quick example. So one of the biggest complaints nationwide involves emergency generators. Some local governments require greater setbacks for generator yards, sound walls, restricted testing hours. It just goes on and on. So a better question, which my question was, were there any federal setbacks, that they're recommending? I know there's not any laws, but any recommendations? What setback, noise, lighting, generator, and buffer standards should Greenwood adopt before data center application is submitted? So, since there are no federal setback requirements for data centers, and counties across the country are creating their own standards, should Greenwood establish setback, noise, and buffering requirements before considering any future data proposals? Well, I think they have addressed it. But I think the question is, have they addressed it enough? If other communities are looking at 500 feet setback and we're at 200 feet, should we opt, if we're going this way, to have more? So since our officials believe there is concern about the 39,000 acres being available for data center development, would a temporary moratorium give Greenwood time to establish setback, noise, water use, and buffering standards? Yes, yes, yes. I think this is a very logical question. To me, I still cannot understand why our community leaders are not wanting to do a moratorium. But I wanted to, since a lot of folks have very strong opinions about this issue, I thought we'd hear what our county officials actually said. Now, one of the questions that came up the other night was, have any companies made inquiries about coming into Greenwood? And at first, our county officials said, they just could not tell us that. And then Theo Lane decided, well, I'll tell you. I'll probably get in trouble. Well, you are listening to WCRS Radio, and it is 10 o'clock in the great city of Greenwood, South Carolina. But let's listen to Theo on the numbers and what he had to say. Let's make sure we got this queued up. Okay. Theo, on the numbers. The question was, have any companies made inquiries into the data centers, for data centers here in Greenwood? Take it away.
Okay, I'm going to answer that question and get fussed at by my staff, I'm sure. To my knowledge, standing right here today, unless something's happened this week that I don't know about, we've heard from 3 interests in regard to building data centers. 3, and to my recollection, James, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm asking you to, all of those within the last 6 months? That answer your question? No problem.
So that was basically the clip. I mean, it just said 3 companies. They did not divulge any more information, but the very fact that they finally admitted that they've had three inquiries into Greenwood County. So then we're going to play, that was, as I said, and a lot of people didn't realize that we'd had any inquiries. And we've been told that they couldn't discuss it. So to finally have that on the, what shall we say, on the record, I think was important. Number 2, I'm going to play by Toby Chapel County Manager, why guardrails are needed. Why guardrails are needed. Let's see. Why not a moratorium? Here we go.
Let me just follow up. On a practical level, a moratorium takes 3 readings in a public hearing. So you're at minimum 6 to 8 weeks before you put a moratorium if we start it next Tuesday. That still doesn't, no, but it's not, there's a reason for that. The problem is, like I said in the beginning, we have a blind spot. Someone shows up tomorrow and wants to put a data center in the RDD, we have to allow them because they're zoned properly. We think a moratorium extends that blind spot, we'll call it, longer. We can do it through regulations and have third reading either next Tuesday or at the very next meeting after that, have at least some safeguards in place, even if they're not perfect, have some safeguards in place versus your moratorium, which is going to trigger to people that are looking. We need to go now because they're about to put a moratorium in place. What you're asking for in a moratorium is going to ensure you get exactly what you don't want, which is an unregulated data center.
Let me say something.
I want to add just a minute to what.
So then Theo went on. We actually had a clip. I can play that. Theo, why not a moratorium? We can go through this again. It's not very long.
I want to add just a minute to what James Bateman's comments, because I've been working in this economic development world now until I just retired for about 35 years all across the state. Site selection professionals, if we start issuing moratoriums on anything, like James just spoke to, site selection professionals aren't looking for a reason to pick us. They're looking for a reason to extract us from their list. Why? Because they don't get paid until the entity that has hired them, so they can go to them and say, Tulsa, Oklahoma, this community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's where you need to go. The economic development ditch is easy to get into. It's hard to get out of, guys. And as James said, it will span every aspect of our work. So when we're on the internet, and everybody's got the right to be, but when we're on the internet and we're throwing just everything against the wall hoping something will stick, they're watching. The world is watching, and the United States is absolutely watching. I've had 5 personal phone calls to me from people in different parts of South Carolina going, Theo, what the hell is going on in Greenwood? So I just wish you would be conscious of that, and I wish that you would kind of trust that the people that are elected to represent you, we want the same things you want. I moved to Greenwood County for a reason, for a lot of reasons. I grew up on tobacco farms in Marion County. You think I don't like open spaces? You think I don't understand the value of neighbors helping neighbors? I do. But I'm telling you, we got to be real careful. When we start talking about putting moratoriums and blocking industries out, that's a slippery slope. I'm going to also be as transparent as I can be with you. When I talk about wanting to get the text amendments in place, we have had companies come to us with interest specifically about data centers. We know they're interested in Greenwood County. We've worked to make them interested, make all facets interested in Greenwood County. But we've made no commitments to anyone. But as the county manager and James both said, it's the reason that we wanted the text amendment there. Is the text amendment perfect as written today? Probably not. Because we did try to put something in place quickly. But I hope that you can just trust that we all want the same things. That's all I wanted to tell you.
So that was Theo again talking about the trust issue. And then, of course, we had James Bateman on why not the moratorium. I can go ahead and play that one again. I just, to me, and this is a personal opinion, just because you put a moratorium on data centers does not mean that every other site manager would not be looking at Greenwood for whatever the other industries are that we have no problem with. I think you can go back and look at our record here in Greenwood. We are not moratorium slap crazy. We don't just do a moratorium every time something comes along. But I think in this case, it should be. I will also say that if they're trying to make sure that they have regulations in place that will prevent a data center from coming, which I think this is a slippery slope, and this is all my opinion here this morning. I've thought about this a lot, and I've thought about it in the last 5 minutes a lot more. If they really wanted to do that, then why didn't they do, instead of a 200-foot setback, why not make it 1,000 feet? And that would be 1,000 feet on each side. Right there, you're putting it out of reach, I believe, for most data centers. So some of the conversation here needs to change. And if you are on social media, I'm sure you've read a lot about what is going on social media. I'm not even going to get into it because some of it is a little out there. But if you really are for the folks here, why not make it 1,000 feet, 800 feet? I don't know, but 200 feet is not even what the standard is being seen across the country. 500 feet is what they're looking at, and that may not be enough. But at least make it 1,000 feet. If you don't want the data centers to come, let's put 1,000 feet in there. I'm just saying, if you won't go with a moratorium, and let's hear James Bateman, why not a moratorium? He is economic development. He spoke about it. I don't really see this argument, but let me play it for you just to be fair.
Sure, I'll take the first part of the question about a moratorium. James Bateman, County's Economic Development Director. Second part of the question about which zone they're appropriate in would be better suited for the planning department and our Deputy Manager of County Operations, who spoke to you earlier. So, as County's Economic Developer, I would advise County Council, if I were asked, I've not been asked because it's not been an issue for Council's consideration, yet it has not been an item on their agenda. But I would tell them that, in my opinion, a moratorium would be a bad idea for Greenwood on any particular industry sector because it can effectively kill all economic development in the county. Because that's signaling to consultants, developers, company, anyone who works on an industrial project that Greenwood County could move one direction or another. They wouldn't have any certainty or clarity about what Greenwood County requires for a particular industry. So if Greenwood County moved, they started investigating a project here, working with us, and then Greenwood County moved in another direction, the moratorium could just be put on that industry, just pick a industry, and they wouldn't have any certainty or clarity. So as opposed to moratorium for one particular industry, I believe we can effectively put in rules to regulate that particular industry, and the staff's done work over the past couple of months while the word rushed has been used, it's been a couple of months of work, Rob can speak more to come up with those rules and regulations, vetting that through other communities that already have data centers, that have an ordinance in place, picking what elements of that works best for Greenwood, instead of kicking the issue down the road for however long a period of time and then taking it back up. If we can get the rules in place today, then we can provide the clarity and the certainty that developers or companies or their consultants are looking for in Greenwood. Because we're actively engaged with projects from all industry sectors, and they're looking at us asking what's the business environment in Greenwood. And it'd be a tough job to sell Greenwood if we're putting moratoriums on certain types of development. Say Greenwood's supportive of industry, and that would take away that statement.
I'm sorry, James Bateman. I just don't see your argument. I think that since data centers are such a hot topic, that any other business that is looking at coming to Greenwood would say, oh, they're being cautious about data centers. However, our record shows, as with Amazon coming here, that we are very open for business here in Greenwood County. So I have a problem with that one. That's fine that that's the argument that they're pushing. But now my argument is, okay, let's change it to 1,000-foot setback. Let's see how many pieces of property will qualify if you have 1,000 feet. As I said, if you're just tuning in, I put into ChatGPT, are there any federal recommendations on data centers? It came back and said no. I said, are there any recommendations from, different sources that are in the know? They said many communities out there are doing at least 500 feet. So here's the answer. Go with 1,000 feet setback all the way around it. Or, as John McCravey said, let's put it down at the Savannah River site. Let's put it on some brown fields that do not have anything to be built on it. Anyways, let's move on and talk about the next step that is happening here. Well, county council members kind of indicated that they might be moving the meeting for Greenwood County. And boom, guess what they did, folks? They moved it. They are going to, they'll still have their meeting next week, but they are not, I repeat, they are not going to have the meeting that will discuss third reading on the data center. So FYI, if you were planning on next week to be there because of the data centers, they have removed that. So it's moved from June 16th to July 7th. The county says it wants more time. They're also going to have an information session scheduled for June 30th, and leaders will continue reviewing feedback. I mean, that's basically the 4 points here. Now, they're saying that we've talked about the 3 companies have shown interest, the guardrails that our county wants to put on it. I'm saying now, okay, increase the distance. If you don't want to do a moratorium, how about increasing it to 1,000 feet? The moratorium, they're saying, could discourage investment. I don't see that one, folks. I think it just would signal to businesses that have looked at Greenwood and continue to look at Greenwood that they're being cautious on data centers, and everybody's doing it. So this is not anything new or different. And if Greenwood joined those that are putting a moratorium on it for a period of time, that would not be outside the norm. They want rules before the project arrives. That is what our county leaders are saying. So our residents are on the complete opposite side. Why not a moratorium? Why the urgency before? Why the delay now? And what information is still missing? You know, there is part of me, and this is just my opinion, that is looking at a July 7th meeting to have a very controversial meeting on July 7th, the week of July 4th, when a lot of people, even if they're not traveling, they are concentrating on having, taking that week for family fun, not being exactly focused on all the things at hand. They take that week and celebrate. It's going to be a big week anyways because it is our 250th anniversary. I'm actually a little surprised that County Council has made this move. But here's another thing for County Council to think about. Last week there was all this urgency to get these regulations in place. Now they're pulling back. County Council is pulling back. And because of the uproar, because the people have done their job and have said, we want more information, because of that, they've delayed it now to July 7th. So here's my question, County Council. Why can we not put in a moratorium legislation? We were told by Toby Chappell that it would take 6 to 8 weeks to get a ordinance, whatever you want to call it, in place. So why not do both if this is what you're so concerned about? You could have the moratorium, introduce the moratorium. Some county council person could introduce a moratorium, and then we could have the moratorium going through the process, and we can have county council and county council's desire for an ordinance that would restrict, although not very deeply restrict, data centers. I think that is another valid question. So last week there was urgency. This week there is a delay. What changed? If more time is needed now, should that time be used only to refine the ordinance, or maybe we should discuss other options like the moratorium? So on July 7th, to move that meeting to July 7th, do you think that will affect public participation? Do you think more people will not be focused on the politics or the issues of Greenwood County during that week, because it is the week of July 4th, because it is the 250th, because it's traditionally the week that a lot of people take their vacation week with their family, whether they're going out of town or not? Whether they're going out of town or not, will this be high on their priorities? So then the other question comes up, and Theo Lane actually raised it when he said, do residents feel they have enough information to trust the process? I don't have the clip right here, but I can remember talking with our leaders about the penny sales tax. And we were told that we needed to trust the process. Sounds like we're being told the same thing. Trust the process. I think this is too big an issue to simply trust the process. We have seen great engagement. I do not feel, and this is a personal opinion, I do not feel that our community leaders have given a really sufficient reason why not the moratorium. I feel that if they really feel this way, then why not have a moratorium option going and the issues for their ordinance that they are putting in place. This is a new thing that I've just come up with this morning thinking about this. Instead of a 200-foot setback around properties that have a data center, maybe we should go with 1,000-foot setback. And that would definitely discourage and protect the folks that have property in that area. So I think there are some compromises. I think there are some ways to work this. I think that these information things that they want to have, I think they're having it on June 30th. Again, is it the county's job to sway public opinion? Are they being heavy-handed in wanting to get what they want by having these public information centers? I have no problem with the public information center, but I question the logic when people have said they wanted a moratorium and our leaders are not listening because they don't it's obvious. It is obvious to me anyways, and I think to a lot of people in our community, that we do not want a data center at this moment. We, the people, would feel more comfortable with a moratorium. It would only affect that one type of industry, data centers. It would not affect anything else. After all, Amazon's here. We have all these different industries that are here. We are a business-friendly community. It simply is trying to protect our environment here in Greenwood County. So, can a council member introduce a moratorium proposal before July 7th? Could they introduce a moratorium proposal at this June 16th meeting? That would be my question. Let's see. Somebody is saying. Okay, somebody's saying something. Hold on. All right, we got all kinds of questions coming in here. Yes. This is, yes. So the question is, could, my idea on introducing the moratorium, having somebody introduce the moratorium, Toby Chappell, our county manager, simply said that it would take 6 to 8 weeks to get a moratorium through. Well, the way they are structuring things and now moving the goalpost to July 7th means that they must think that they have more time than what they thought. I simply thought by getting that on the books, at least it would be moving forward. That was my thought there. Has any council member publicly said they intend to do so? No, I don't think anybody has, but maybe they will come forth and say it. If the ordinance process can be delayed 3 weeks, why can't alternative approaches at least be debated? I think this is the question that we, the people, want to know. Why is county council so unwilling to bring forth a discussion about a moratorium? So, and what is the downside of having both discussions at the same time? Because I'm not saying that you pass the moratorium, but why can you not have that conversation going and see which option is actually the better way to go? So, let's see. All right, let's see what else I have coming in here. I got, let's see. Somebody else just brought up the week of the barbecue. Well, it's the barbecue festival. It's actually right before the barbecue festival, but it is the week of the 4th. 4th of July is on a Saturday. I'm sure, I don't know what they're going to do for having time off for county employees, if they'll take that Monday too. Normally, they have Friday off. 4th of July is on a Saturday. I'd say, this is just a speculation, that they will also take Monday off. So does it really make sense to have that meeting something contentious the week of that? That is why I'm saying maybe we need to go ahead and introduce the moratorium. But that's, again, that was just a thought. My other thought is let's move the goalpost to 1,000 feet around a data center. So, well, yes, okay, I'm not going to, I'm going to talk about a couple other points there. What is the downside of having both discussions at the same time? Can a county council person introduce a moratorium? After all, that would put it, maybe if you did introduced it first, second, third reading, you could, by the end of July, you would have that in place. You could have your regulations in place by the 7th. So, see, they're moving the goalpost, but they're not getting the job done. And are they looking at what is best for the people of Greenwood County? I want to just go over this notice that County Council update. County Council will consider the third reading of the ordinance 2026-19, the proposed data center text amendment on July 7th. The proposed amendment would establish zoning standards while county staff will have the amendment ready for consideration on June 16th. Chairman Lane has requested that the third reading be moved to July 7th to allow additional time to review feedback from council members and the public to ensure proposed amendment is responsive to community concerns. Theo, Councilman Theo Lane, Chairman Theo Lane. The people want a moratorium. They don't really care about what setbacks and what y'all are working on. The folks want a moratorium. If you want to be sensitive to the folks, then you need to entertain the moratorium. Then it goes on to say in this Greenwood, this is from Greenwood County Government, to help residents better understand the proposed text amendment, the Greenwood County Planning Department will hold a drop-in information center session on Tuesday, June 30th from 5:30 to 7 in the Veterans Auditorium at the Greenwood County Library. This session will be led by the Planning Department staff and will focus exclusively on the language and provision contained within the proposed text amendment. Didn't the Planning Commission, now I realize that's not the Planning Department, so maybe they're two different things, but didn't the Planning Commission vote for complete denial of this and putting in a moratorium? Yes, they did, Ann. They did. So, but anyways, this is what our local government is doing. This session will be led by the Planning Department staff and will focus exclusively on the language and provisions contained within the proposed text amendment. County council members and other departments will... I love this. I'm sorry. I must laugh. County council members and other county departments will not be in attendance. We will not be, let me quote, we will already be on vacation, or, maybe I should say, we don't want to take any abuse from you guys and be asked 100 times why you're not putting a moratorium in, so we will not be there. What a hoot. That is an opinion from Ann Eller. Just want to keep this straight. All right. Let's see. Questions regarding economic development matters, moratorium proposal, or topics outside the scope of the text amendment will not be addressed during this information session. We are told by County Council Chairman Theo Lane to trust them. And at every turn, they give us the reason not to trust them. I'm actually very sad about this because I think this is too important to be trying to push this down the folks' throats and make them just go along to get along. I think if a moratorium is what the folks want, then regardless, county council owes us they owe us the opportunity to bring it up and explore it, instead of to constantly shut it down and say it will not do what you want. And yet, county after county after county in South Carolina alone has put moratoriums in effect. Newberry did it last week. Spartanburg kicked one data center that was coming out. They didn't kick it out literally, but they made it so difficult that they said, Hell no, we'll go to North Carolina. And the people celebrated, yes. But all across this state, where data centers are being looked at, they are either not given the option to be there and or, my phone is dinging, and or they're not even having the opportunity to come in because they put a moratorium while they study and make sure that they get it right. Okay, so let's see. Let us go and see. Well, let's see. Well, I just got a, you are right, exactly, definitely, thumbs up, woohoo, okay. All right. That's one. Let's see what else we got coming in here this morning. Where shall I go? Right here. See if we got any others coming in. Let's see. Yep. Okay. That's not something we can talk about. All right. What else have we got here this morning? Somebody just said, you're saying county council. You're saying county council is wrong. I'm not saying county council is wrong. I'm saying county council needs to listen to the folks. County council wants to put this amendment or this ordinance through, this text amendment through. When I read, this session will be led by the planning department and department staff and will focus exclusively on the language and provisions contained within the proposed text amendment. County council members and other county departments will not be in attendance. Questions regarding economic development matters, moratorium proposals, or topics outside the scope of the text amendment will not be addressed during this information session. I understand why they're doing it. I just think it's sad that county council at every turn is shutting down the idea of a moratorium. That's what I think is sad, and that's my personal opinion. So what is the downside of having both discussions going on at the same time? And why can't both ideas be on the table? We're already delaying it again. It's not going to come up on the 16th meeting. They've pushed it out of there. They've put it on a week that, in my opinion, although they say that it is to give them more time for research, and I can appreciate that, it also is a week where not a lot of people are probably going to be paying attention. So just want to make sure that you know that that would be coming up on the 7th of July, which is the week of the 4th of July. All right, so that's number four. Number four, county leaders. I'm gonna finish up with this. County leaders say the ordinance is needed to create guardrails before a project arrives. Some residents say a moratorium would provide more time to study the issue. Now that the ordinance vote has been delayed until July 7th, should county council use the extra time to discuss both options? I think that's a very fair question. Many residents don't necessarily understand why it has to be an either-or discussion. They're asking, why can't county council continue to refine the ordinance while also considering whether a temporary pause is appropriate? Whether it should be allowed on the floor for discussion is a different debate. Does anybody have any more questions? Have I done a good job here discussing this morning? I hope so, because I have really thought about it a lot. I went to the Democratic meeting that Toby Chappell and James Bateman and Joanna Bishop were at. I was at the Republican meeting Monday night upstairs at Howard's that I really thought was a music event because it was so packed at a Republican meeting. It was kind of amazing. There's a lot of information that is floating around in a lot of different places. But there are a lot of real questions that need to be answered by county council. And the very fact that we're just being told to trust is to trust the process and to trust county council gives me pause at a time where in many people's opinions, not just mine, but in many people's opinions, their unwillingness to look at a moratorium gives us pause to think, why not? I think the other option would be to increase the distance around a data center. As I said, I just put into ChatGPT, are there any federal guidelines? They said no. What are people in other areas across the country doing? Most of what they came back with, at least 500 feet. So why don't, if you really want to go ahead with this county council, let's make it 1,000 feet around the property and see how many takers we get. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. I have gone way over here today. I had another story to share with you, but I guess it'll wait till tomorrow. It's a mayoral story, so I hope you will tune in tomorrow to see what I got going on right here on WCRS. Well, I had Penny on the whole time. I didn't even realize I had Penny on here. Penny's just been looking at me going, what the heck, Ann? All right. Well, I'm dressed in red, white, and blue because we went through a primary, and it is a time to celebrate the victories of those that won, that are moving either outright won or are moving forward with with their runoff elections. It's going to be wild and crazy for 2 weeks. We'll get to right to the end of the month. The 23rd is actually the runoff. And that's maybe when we can say, relax a little bit. That's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio right here in Greenwood. We have been live on Facebook today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I want to know, does anybody notice the new angle of my cameras? I've had a lot of complaints on the cameras over the year, and I made a move. On my own, I said, I'm changing the angle of the camera. So if you saw it, tell me whether you think you like it better, or should I put the side view back of Ann Eller? There you go. That, my friends, is going to do it for me. You just keep talking, keep asking questions, and we'll all get through it. That's it. Mic out. Penny, are we out? We are out. So we are going to drop the curtain, and we're going to play the music, cue the music, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. No afternoon show. I'm taking a break. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.